Here we have all the parts laid out. We're ready to assemble. We have our standard blue tube of lube. And first I'm going to grab the piston where we're going to assemble the O-rings, the piston. Next you'll take your liquid valve body, put your red O-rings on the slotted areas in the liquid valve body. Stretching them helps get it over to the backs of the liquid valve body. Next, you're going to take your check bands, and there is a right and wrong way to the check band. If you're looking at the check band, it looks flat. If I turn it inside out, you have a concave look. The concave is the wrong way to assemble it. So you'll turn it back. Again, you can stretch it with your fingers. Just bring it all the way down into the groove. Always make sure you're checking the check bands so the concave is not on the outside. Okay, so next you'll take just a little bit of lube, take your piston, and lightly lube the inside of the piston. And you can take your valve body, slide that down where the pin and the hole line up. You can position them like that. Next, we're going to take some more lube. Grab your pump cylinder, and on the bottom side of the pump cylinder, you're just going to lube that area. Then you can take your piston and valve body, line up the hole on the piston and cylinder, slide it all the way up. And as you can see where this little pin is, there's a little dimple in here, so it won't go all the way. If you just turn it and it slides in, and it should be flush on the bottom. Next, take a little bit of lube. You don't need a whole lot. You can take your flare line and just lube the inside of the flare. Then you can screw the one end. You don't have to go tight. Make it loose for now. Now that we've assembled your pump cylinder, we're going to move on to the hose assembly and get that prepared to bring it down to the mix cabinet and complete the assembly. Now you can take your T, and that's going to get a red O-ring on it. We'll take a small film of lube again, and just lube that red O-ring. You're going to take the spring and poppet, put the poppet on top, and then snap that on to your inlet elbow, like so. Next, take the clear line on the small hose and push that on all the way. And it's very important that that fits tight. If you can spin it, it causes air to leak and mix to go up to the pressure switch. Take your suction hose, push that all the way on. Again, you want that to fit tight. You don't want anything leaking past the barb fitting. You have your bag adapter and your duck bill. You can see there's ridged areas there. You'll push that duckbill all the way down until it falls into the slot and you don't see any ridged area. So it's pretty much flush. We'll take that big adapter and slide it onto your suction hose. And that's the assembly of the hose part. Now that we have our parts assembled, we're going to take those and attach them to the parts inside the mix cabinet so we can get ready to prime the machine. So we're ready to assemble. We're going to put the pump cylinder on by taking the locking collar. You can see the hole is on top, and you're just going to want to slide that down. If you look up here, you have the ball of the pump motor. So just make sure your piston is somewhat lined up to that hole. Slide that up. You also have a pin up here that's on top, so you need to line the hole and the pin up, and then slide your locking collar up. Slide it up. Put your pin in. Now that's locked in place. Next, you can take your flare line, which goes to your suction line going up. So now just make sure you tighten that one, and then the one on the back side. After you've installed the pump cylinder and attached the flare line, next you're going to take your suction line, inlet tube, and assemble that. Taking your suction line inlet tube, you make sure you had lube on it. That goes into the bottom of your pump assembly. Put your locking pin in, and your small air line and suction line will just sit there for now. Now you're going to grab your vacuum switch and your pressure switch, and you'll lube those parts and assemble those. So you have pressure switch cap. Now you want to take some lube. You don't need a lot. Just lube that diaphragm on each side. Put that inside the cap, and now assemble that cap onto the pressure switch, making sure you don't cross thread it, and it just needs to be snug tight. You don't have to crank down on it. Next, we're going to put the vacuum switch together. Take the vacuum switch diaphragm, a little bit of lube. When you assemble this, you'll see a hole on the one side, and that pin right there. If you hold down on the reset, push down, make sure it snaps on there. Take your little bit of lube, lube that diaphragm, take the cap, and lock the cap. Now you can assemble that up to the probe socket. So your next step is to take the high pressure line with the two quick disconnects on each end and attach that to the suction line. So now you're going to take that high pressure line, pulling back on the quick disconnect and attaching it to the valve cap. If you just kind of give it a little tug, make sure it's snapped on there, and it is assembled. And the last tube, which will go up to your vacuum switch, you'll just push it past the barb, just like so. And now your pump assembly is all done.